Hey, it's Peter Reed Miller from On Sports Photography with Peter Reed Miller. Here today in Manhattan Beach Studios, I am going to talk about my workflow from camera to computer to photo mechanic and on into a little bit of captioning. So that's what we got today. Stay tuned. All right, so I have just come back off the field. I've been shooting a game, in this case, the Super Bowl. I've got my camera, pulling my card, putting it in my card reader. Now, this is a USB 3 reader. Thanks, Apple, for making me have to buy 100 different cords for this thing now. But all right, Mechanic opens. It opens an ingest dialog. And several things here. It's going to put a metadata IPTC file. Now, I have already pre-done this metadata file. So when I get back, because there's a lot of stuff that I, as an AP photographer, have to put on, special codes, names, blah, blah, blah. There's a whole thing about location, cities that stand alone. Like you can say Atlanta, but you can't say Des Moines. You got to say Des Moines, Iowa. This is all covered in the AP style book. And if you're looking to work for an agency and looking to do stuff that's going to go up on the web, you might do well to refer to that and check a few things. Cities that stand alone. All right, so I have these images here, and before I even deal with the captioning, I'm going to go through and I'm going to do my form of editing. I don't use stars. I don't use colors. They're either in or they're out. And the way I do it is I go through here, and if I wanted to keep this one, I'd hit T, and it would be tagged, and it will move me on to the next frame. If I don't like that frame, I go with the arrow, and then here T, 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 and then we go back and we go to Edit, and we go Select Tagged, and boom, I've got this. I can also do it this way. I can go to up here, and I can say I just want to see the tag pictures. And boom, that's all I've got. And from there, I do my edit. I usually save the whole take because that's the kind of guy I am. But I will be able to pull those selects right out of there just by selecting all and doing a copy, moving them to a final file. So that's how I do my editing. Either a picture is good or it's not. I don't see this whole, oh yeah, there's 7 different colors, but that's just me. So that's how I do it. So I've got all this in here, and I've got a generic caption for the Super Bowl, and I've got a ton of keywords. Keywords are what get your picture sold. People don't search for Peter Reed Miller's pictures from the Super Bowl. They'll look for Super Bowl 53, or they'll look for overhead high views from Super Bowl 53, or whatever else, NFL, all these things. You can't put too many keywords in, because every time you put another keyword in, there's a chance that somebody's going to pick up your image. So very important to work your keywords. There's a lot of material written about that. I just kind of do it, but all those keywords are in already. So this is my template that's going to be applied. Now, where's this stuff going to go? Primary destination is a folder that I've already made on my desktop that says Super Bowl. Secondary, see, that's one of the great things with Photo Mechanic. You can ingest into 2 places at once. So I can put it on the desktop to work on it, and I can back it up on an external hard drive. This is a SanDisk terabyte solid state drive there. Very nice. So I'm going to do that. Secondary is going to be all right, Sandy. We call you Sandy. And on Sandy, we have also made a file called Super Bowl. So we select that as the secondary. Okay, we've got our primary destination, secondary destination, IPTC file, sequence. Let's check that. And well, let's see. Okay, we can also rename our files if we want. I'm not going to do that today, but basically we're ready to go. Check everything, and we're going to hit the ingest button, and away we go. Now this is I've cut this down a little bit in terms of number of files, so we'll do it in a timely manner, but you can see it's bringing them in pretty fast. These are full frame raw files and large JPEGs from an EOS 1DX Mark II. So it's a pretty healthy file size. This is a lot of information here, and it's coming in fast. Actually, if I had a full game, I could probably ingest it in 12 to 15 minutes, I would say. That's usually the time it takes, especially all this fast USB 3, solid state, all that. It does speed it up. And the fact that that's a CFast card is another reason that it's going fast here. So we're getting all this stuff in the Photo Mechanic, stored on the hard disk, and stored here on my external disk as a backup. So we're covering our bases here. Let's see how we're doing on the ingest. We're trucking along there. Now, as I said, this is only about 15 gigs. This is about, well, maybe 10%, 15% of my whole Super Bowl take. This year I shot the Super Bowl from overhead because I was having issues with my knee, which has now been replaced. But it was not bad, actually, except I was right behind the Patriots fans. So I have a lot of pictures of, you know, somebody, Gronk, going in for a touchdown, and there he is, he's getting the ball, and suddenly hats and hands and everything come up in front of me. So that was a little bit of an issue, but we'll see if we can find an image to talk a little bit about captioning and code replacement. So we're trucking along here. This will also, Photo Mechanic will also ingest from 2 sources at once. So if you want to put 2 card readers in here and put 2 cards in, it'll take them both and put them in there. Great, this is the version 6. A lot of cool stuff about this. Faster, a lot of other little features that I don't use, so I'm not that familiar with. But it's good, it's better. The people at Photo Mechanic always come up with improvements, and they're constantly updating for free. So here we go. I shoot JPEG and RAW on pretty much everything. This is from the days at Sports Illustrated where we were required to shoot RAW. Actually, at that point, I would just shoot RAW, but now I shoot RAW plus JPEG because the card's fast enough to read them both. I could shoot JPEG now. That's what the AP, what we finally put up on the AP, but there's a part of me that just always wants to have that RAW file, and I think that's the way it'll always be. So that's why we have 2 file names for every file. But when you go into Mechanic, you're just going to see 1 image because it stacks them. You can see here we have, you know, CR2 plus JPEG. So let's go down to something that's kind of, and you can see this was kind of like a fish in the barrel shoot. I was up in actually in a handicapped area, which was appropriate for me at that time, and basically covered just about everything. But let's see something that's sort of an individual player. What do we got here? Okay, here's a guy running. We can see his number. Okay. All right, let's bring this up. Okay. Well, we can't really see it, is it? Let's see. Yeah, it's 84. Okay. All right, this is not the world's all-time great picture, but you know, how do we make this picture captioned so it's correct, so it's about him? I don't know who he is. I'm you know, season's over. Okay, I have done a generic NFL Super Bowl 53, blah 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 blah. I'm gonna go Patriots wide, Patriots wide receiver. And I misspelled that, so thank you, Mechanic. Okay, now I'm going to go / capital P 84 / And look what it says. It says, New England Patriots tight end Benjamin Watson. I don't have my glasses on, sorry. Number 84. This is called code replacement. It's amazing. It will change your life if you have to caption games, anything, any event where people have numbers, cars have numbers, whatever. The site is called, not surprisingly, codereplacement.com. You can join for a minimal amount of money, like $50 a year. That site has rosters from every sport, every event. You can also make your own roster. Like if you shoot a high school team, you create a rich text file, and they'll tell you how to do it in the mechanic in the help files, and you put your roster in, and then you use a symbol, a delimiter, like in this case backslash. You assign a letter to the team, in this case capital P for Patriots, the number, backslash, boom, it puts the name in. It's amazing. How does it know? Now, if it was a Ram, I would go backslash R12 slash, and it would go boom, and that would be the Ram player's name. This is something to really explore, really look into. If you weren't aware of it, if you were, think about it again, because it'll really make your life simpler. So this is pretty much my workflow from game. I usually do this in the workroom, the media workroom. Sometimes I wait till I'm back at my hotel or back at home. But this is the way it goes, and then I've got that time to go through, make my edit. Once I've done my edit, I do my captions, boom, up, and again, Photo Mechanic will allow you to FTP right out of there, so I can FTP it right up to AP, and there you go. You're done. So that's my little story for today. Hope you learned something from it. Good shooting.